Hi, welcome back. I'm Narima. Today we are going to learn how to pumpkin pie. Since the holidays are here, I figured everybody needs a good pumpkin pie recipe, unless you live in my neighborhood and you want to buy it from me. But anyway, great recipe. Remember, my spirit is all Puerto Rican, born and raised, so this recipe is going to have a touch of Puerto Rican spice. You'll see what I mean as we go along. We're going to start with our pie crust. Now, in the comments, I am going to leave the link on how to pie crust. I made a video on that already, so I'm not going to keep doing it right now. I'm just going to pick up from where we left off with the pie crust itself and just carry it on till the end. So remember, I'll leave it down in the description box. Also, ingredients, when I'm pouring the ingredients in, don't worry about the measurements because I will leave that in the description box also. Everything you need to know is going to be down there. Like, share, subscribe. So let's get started. I'm going to be doing a mini pie. Just because if I make a big pie, I'm going to have to eat it all, and we don't want that. So little mini pie, but the procedure and everything is exactly the same as if you have a big pie. So here we go. First step in making our pumpkin pie, Puerto Rican pumpkin pie. Pie crust, we're going to take a fork and dock the pie crust. When you dock the pie crust, you poke just little holes into the crust. And this lets steam come out when it's baking, because the crust tends to puff up with the butter that's inside the crust. And nobody wants a puffy crust. You want a nice, solid crust. So first step, just poke little holes all over your pie crust. And I'm sure you've seen this before. Maybe you didn't know why you had to have it done, but now you know. Holes everywhere, all on the bottom, because that's where it tends to swell, on the bottom. Okay, once you've got those holes in, we are going to blind bake this. Blind bake means to pre-bake it before we actually put the custard in. Custard meaning the pumpkin pie mix we're going to make. So the first step to blind baking, once you dock it, we are going to take, I had this prepared just for the video's sake. It's a little foil with beans on the inside, dry beans. If you have pie weights, you can also use pie weights. That'll work fantastic. I don't have pie weights. So, and the reason we put this in here is so when we finally put the crust and the pie to bake completely, everything stays in place. So the beans help keep this in place. I just smush it down a little bit to create a little bit of pressure, not too hard, because we don't want to flatten the crust. Got that in? We're going to put this in the oven on 425 for 10 minutes. Remember, I am doing a mini, but when you do your regular size, it's exactly the same temperature and the same time. So from here, I'm just putting this in the oven. And that's gonna bake 10 minutes on the timer. Alrighty, so let's leave that baking. While that does its job, let's make the mix. Move this over here. And again, don't get hung up on the ingredients and the amounts, because I'll leave everything ready for you in description. Hopefully you can see that. There. Now the reason I'm going to make it in a little pot on the stove, it's because I want my mix to be lukewarm, not overheated, but just lukewarm, so it cooks evenly. Sometimes the outside will cook quicker and the inside will just be like, all soggy and everything. Let's not do that. So we're just gonna put this on medium low and cook this up till it's lukewarm. First thing we're gonna add is 1 can of pumpkin puree. You can make your own pumpkin puree, yes you can, but for the video's sake, I'm just using 1 can. And another thing with the pie crust, you can use pre-baked pie crust. That works just, that's a lie. It does not work just as well because there's nothing like homemade. But hey, I don't know your life. Maybe you don't have time to make the pie crust, and that's cool. Just use a pre-baked, right? No biggie. Same thing with this pumpkin. You can make your own or just use the can. So if you got 1 can pumpkin, that over here. Next we're going to add 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, which is white sugar, table sugar. For our spices, got 1 tablespoon. If it's heaping, it doesn't matter because I love spice. So 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Got some ginger here for a kick. I'm gonna do 1/2 teaspoon. Let's do 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. And I hear that sizzling. So once you hear it sizzling, just turn it down low. Remember, you're not cooking it on the oven, you're just heating it up. I'm gonna do 1/2 teaspoon also of nutmeg. And 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And that's for the dry spices. Always, always, always add vanilla. I always use vanilla paste. The flavor is so amazingly different than any other vanilla. So about a teaspoon, give or take. You could never, for me, I could never add too much vanilla. We're gonna add 3 eggs to our mix. Mix those in. Once you add the eggs, give it a quick mix so it doesn't turn into scrambled eggs. We don't want scrambled eggs. That looks good enough to eat already, and it's not even done. Remember I told you I'm gonna Puerto Rican it? Wait till you see what I do. Mix that up. To our mixture, we're adding 1/2 cup of heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. And this is what makes it so incredibly creamy. Like a custard almost. And 1/2 cup of whole milk. Add this in. Oh my goodness, the smell, it's amazing. Give this a stir. See that? And I like to use my whisk because it breaks everything up. Sometimes when you use dry spices like I did, they tend to come like, you know, in little balls from sitting in the container for so long. This breaks it up. It gives it a nice even consistency. Now, are you ready for the star of the show? Yes, but I'm not talking about me this time. Nice little whisk. All right. Here we go. Ready for this? We are going to add a shot glass of dark rum. I always use Bacardi. Of course, you can not add the rum, but why would you not want to add the rum? Bacardi is my happy place. For real. So, shot glass, happy place, Bacardi. Look at that. I just did that. That just happened. Oh my goodness. Guess what's for dinner tonight? Whew, it's gonna be a good night. Mix that up. And now if you're concerned about the alcohol and you really do not want to add the Bacardi, but you love the flavor, but you're gonna feed this to your kids, the alcohol, when it cooks, it evaporates. So all that you have left is that amazing, spicy, smoky flavor of the Bacardi. So no worries. And if you want to add more than a shot glass, do it. You know? Do it. We're not communists here. You do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy. Isn't that what life is all about? I believe so, 100%. Okie doke. So this is done. And now I just have to wait for this to come out of the oven. That needs another 2 minutes, and I will show you the next step. There we go. Just gonna put this here. And from here, what we're going to do, we need to bake this again for another 5 minutes. It's a little process, but believe me, it's so worth it. We're gonna take the little beans out. Be careful because it's hot. Little by little. Put it aside. See, can you see that? That is beautiful. Now we are going to take an egg wash and put it around the bottom of the pie crust. Why are we doing this? Because the egg wash is going to create like a little barrier once we put our custard in, so the pie doesn't get soggy. And an egg wash, all it is, it's 1 egg and maybe a teaspoon of water. So wherever the pie is going to touch, we put the egg wash. All on the sides. And this goes back in the oven for another 5 minutes on the same temperature, 425. Timer, 5 minutes. Okay, while that bakes, I'm going to show you one of the last steps. Not the last step, but you know, part of the finishing touches. So over here, we are going to make the whipped cream for the topping. In case you've never made homemade whipped cream, this whipped cream is amazing and so easy to make. Your kids are gonna love it with fruits. Oh my God, it's delicious. So, get your mixer, measuring cup. Heavy whipping cream, again. We're going to make 1 cup. When you've got your big pie, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, it's gonna be more than enough. I'm gonna have extras with this little pie, so it looks like I'm having it with hot chocolate tonight. So exactly 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. One cup, can you see that? 1 cup. We're going to take some powdered sugar. Now, the amount of powdered sugar is up to you. Do you like it super sweet? Add more. Do you like it more on the mild side? Add less. Easy. I'm gonna add 1 heaping because the pie is sweet enough already. And yes, you can make this into cinnamon whipping cream, heavy whipping cream with, just add some cinnamon to it, add some nutmeg to it, add some allspice to it, add some ginger to it. It's gonna be amazing. Just experiment. Okay, once you've got that, we're just gonna let the mixer do its job. So it goes from liquid put the whisk in there. Start off slow with the whipping. Increase the power gradually. And then what I like to do is take a little towel and cover it up so it doesn't splash all over the place, because I'm going to put it now on max power. And that's it. Leave it there for about maybe a minute, 2 minutes, depending on the temperature, because if the temperature outside in your environment is hot, it's going to take longer to whip. But if it's cooler, like in winter time, it's going to whip quicker. You can also put this bowl before you whip it into the freezer. Keep it nice and cold, and that'll whip you a cream much quicker. I didn't do it, but I should have. But I don't live in the past. I don't live in the past. And our pie is almost out of the oven, our pie crust. I'll take a quick peek. It's got a little ways to go yet. That's the timer for our pie crust. I'm going to look at it. Let me look at this first. Almost. Put this to the side so we can see our pie crust. All right. Now look at this. This is what I was telling you. When you dark the pie, which means when you poke holes into it, it stops the pie from rising, the pie crust from rising. Look at that beauty. That, I don't know if you can tell, but that did not rise at all. It's perfect. Now for the final step of baking, we need to add the custard and tent it. By tent it, I mean put foil around it, the edges, so the edges don't burn. And I'll show you the whipped cream in a minute. So, this is how I like to do it. If you've got an easier way of doing this, by all means, go ahead and do it. But this is what works for me. I've got a little piece of foil. Okay, once I have it in the middle, I will egg wash the edges. What does that do? When I egg wash the edges, it gives us this beautiful golden color. Looks so appetizing. There. Egg wash all around it. Now we are ready to add our mix. Just give it one more twirl with the whisk before I add it in. And if you have your big pie crust, the big, large, the 9-inch size, you can just take this and pour it in. But since mine is little, I'm just gonna scoop it in, little by little. And these little ones, they're really great to give to friends, you know, office workers, teachers. I love them. This and reruns of Sex and the City, we're good to go. Yes, 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 I'm a Carrie girl. Mr. Big. That doesn't get old. So what I'm doing now is tenting this. See, just trying to cover the edges as much as I can. Looks like a little pot pie. It's so adorable. There you go. That's it. That's it. Now we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. 50. I will put all of this in the description box. Once the 50 minutes is over, you turn the oven off and you leave it in for another 15 minutes and then you take it out. Why are you doing that? Because the temperature goes down gradually once you turn the oven off, and it prevents it from breaking. Believe me, it works. So let's put this in the oven, and then I'll show you my whipping cream. Timer on. And here we go. Let's see that whipping cream. This is what you're looking for. Look at that. That's beautiful. And yes, I'm going to show you the final pie, and we don't have to wait 15 minutes. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Isn't that a beauty? Nice golden edges. The center, as you put it in the fridge, it'll set a little more. You don't want it to overcook because it gets too hard, and you want that creamy, custardy consistency to your pie. Got that. And now let's just top it. Take our heavy whipping cream. You can do anything you like with it, with the whipping cream. I just like to put little mini flowers around it. Oh, I made a mess. No bueno. Here. If you make this, please let me know. I really enjoyed reading your comments. So now I will just pipe right around it. Make it as big, as small. I love whipping cream, so guess what? We're getting more of it. Ba-bam. And to top it off, as if that's not enough, I've got some roasted pecans. And how do I roast them? I just chop them up and put them in the oven, 350 for about 8 minutes, and they get this nice brown toasty color. I added some granulated sugar and some cinnamon, made cinnamon sugar, and now I'm just gonna top it. Because why not? Like I said, I'm not a communist. There you go. There you have it. That's it. Your perfect Puerto Rican pumpkin pie.